Welcome to the Harness Edge. I'm Harold Howe, and we're back with 2-year-olds in training, and this is part 3 of our series we've had with the Burke staple. We're here with Mickey, but today we're going to focus on 2-year-olds. Mickey, in total, how many 2-year-olds do you have? I know it's the most you've ever had.
51.
51. And it's interesting, Mickey, I was saying off camera talking to you, you don't spend a lot of time thinking about what sire they're by, what sale they sold from, how much they brought, who bred them. Your job when you get them in the fall is just give them a chance to be racehorses.
Yeah, we take and consider that when we're starting to put the sets together in the beginning, just to, what's happened in the past and who's been good, which sires and that. But of course, when you got a first-year sire like Rock and Roll Heaven, nobody has any answers to it when you start out. And but once they do, and you'd be surprised, and probably not, Harold, because you've been around a long time too, how your A team becomes your C team and your C team becomes your B team and so on. They'll switch around as you go, and you'll go for a week or two and think, this thing's not much, and then all of a sudden they'll light up.
Okay, let's talk about your first set. This is a set of trotters. Chip Page. This is a Chip Hooray. Come out of the Ohio blooded sale. $18,000. Not that this horse can read, but what do you think at this point?
Well, at this point, he's going with the best of our trotters, and our trotters, most of them are going very well. But we've paid a lot more for a lot of them that can't go much, and I don't think any better than him right now.
Your trotters have been in what range?
We've been around 40, 45 with them, or 45 to 50 with the trotters, and 35 to 40 now with the pace and colts and fillies.
Okay, we've got a Donato Hanover filly, Social Princess, $50,000 out of Lexington.
She impressed me today. I hadn't paid a whole lot of attention to her until you asked who she was, and I couldn't tell you. And then I checked with Keith and found out it was a Donato, because I've been lukewarm on Donatos myself. There's been a couple nice ones, but there's been a lot of duds too. I don't think he's been what we all thought he was going to be yet.
Okay, and you've got a little bit of everything for everybody here. You've got a Swan for All filly called Hannelore Hanover that picked up for $32,000 out of Harrisburg.
This filly I really like. She's a little bit flaky yet. She's getting better. We have woods all on one side of it, and she's sure there's a demon in those woods just waiting to get her. And I mean, as you jog her once in a while past it, especially down on the jog track, and she'll think something's going to jump out at her. But when she turns and goes to work, she's all business.
And one that if you don't like this filly on the track, you just don't like horses. Mission Brief, the Muscle Hill out of Southwind Serena, and it's easy to say, you should notice her. $150,000 out of Lexington, I guess she was.
Right.
I mean, but how do you feel about her?
Well, I mean, right now she's doing everything that you could possibly ask him to do. But Harold, if you don't like him at this time of the year, you got a big problem, or I got a big problem if I don't like him. And so far, there's nothing here that I'm ready to scrap.
Okay. All right, moving on here. We've got Gatka Hanover, a muscle massive filly, $48,000 out of Harrisburg.
This filly has been very impressive. The last several times she's trained, she's really looked like she's got her head together and looks like she might be a nice one.
She was out there with Kersey Hanover, another Donato Hanover filly, $47,000 out of Harrisburg.
And Kersey's, I think he finished right on the front end in this set today, and seems like he's going to be all right.
Yeah. Habitat. Now this is one that everybody here at the barn really likes. A Conway Hall colt, $55,000 out of Lexington.
Yeah, and this is, I favor Conway Halls, and I can't give you a real good reason why, except that I've always liked them better than the Andover Halls, and I like the Cantab Halls real well. But for New York, he's an awful good sire.
We've got a credit winner colt, Star Treatment, and he was $65,000 out of Lexington.
And he's doing everything that you could possibly ask a colt to do at this time.
All right. We'll switch over some pacers here. Let's start with Rich Wisdom, a Dragon again, 25,000 out of Lexington.
I have never sat behind this horse yet, but it's just there's so many of them, and I'm trying to get slowly to get through them all. But you know, from what you see from the side, he looks like he'll learn to be a horse.
Okay. And then earlier you mentioned about Rock and Roll Heaven. You've got, I think, 4 of them here, and we're looking at such a sense of humor. He rang the bell. I think it was 120,000 in Lexington.
And he looks every penny of it so far. You know, he's a big, good-looking colt, got a lot of sense to him, and a very slick gait to him.
Okay. And then we've got Too Darn Hot, a Rock and Roll Hanover. He was 90,000 at Harrisburg.
Here again, I've jogged the colt a few times. I haven't sat behind him in a training mile, but from what I've seen from the side, you know, he's in a set that I go with all the time, and I think he'll be all right.
And
I hope so.
And your pacers are in what range, roughly?
Pacers are most in the range right around 35 to 40.
Okay. And the last one we saw was Cartoon Daddy, an Art Major colt, 60,000 out of Harrisburg.
And he's a big, good-looking colt. Actually, what happened there was one of our owners bought the colt, and then as soon as Ronnie looked at him, Ronnie had never looked at the colt, and as soon as he looked at him, and he says to Joe, you know, if you'd like to sell part of him, we'll take him. And he says, yeah. He said, we'll sell you. I think we bought half of him, if I remember correctly.
So it sounds like overall you're reasonably happy as we arrive in mid-February with your lot in life here.
No reason. I'm really happy doesn't describe it. I'm darn happy. I'm in Florida, and as bad as we haven't had a really real nice winter here, but it's sure been a lot better than they've had in the East and in Canada. But it's, you know, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing at this time, and it's not time to get excited about them yet. When you start going second trips with them, they'll start separating themselves.
Well, Mickey, enjoy the rest of the winter, and thanks for sharing your thoughts.
Harold, thank you very much for visiting with us.
All right. Harold Howe with Mickey Burke, 2-year-olds in training.